Hey yo, what's the deal? You know who it is. It's the Don. Tony Teflon, House Teflon, Teflon 316. We pull the strings here on Teflon TV. What up, what up, what up, my people? And I'm back at you with another quick hit. And I like these quick hit things. I could just knock these out soon. So this one right here is another question I was asked, and it is, who is Quaithe? Now, I'm not going to go into crazy amount of detail because I don't really think I need a crazy amount of detail to explain the situation of Quaithe and who she is. So, I have heard that she is, what is it, a Serene Sea Star. And I've heard that she was Scepter Lamore. And I've heard other things. But no, I think it's pretty simple. I'm just going to say this quick. Quaithe is a sure Dayne. I think that's known. And I think it's the same George R. R. Martin trick of using the sigil to give the person's bloodline. And every time you see Quaithe mentioned, she's either in the stars or she's by the stars. And we know the sigil of House Dayne is a falling star, which is what she supposedly became when she jumped off the cliff to her death. Now, I think there's a couple more things more important than that, than actually who she is. So I'm going to, since that, you may not believe that, that's not enough, I'll give you a couple of things real quick just to try to push this forth for you, all right? Now, remember, Quaithe is on the Quaithe Council, all right? And she works with the warlocks there. And she knows the warlocks wanted the dragons, right? She sees this, and then she tells Daenerys the glass candles are burning, right? And that to me means that, hey, I'm going to come see you soon because the glass candles allow people the green side, all right? So then she says, soon comes the pale mare and after her. And specifically she says her, right? The others, the Kraken, the dark flame. All right, so we know she has access to the glass candles. She has said she's already looked at them, right? And now she says the Kraken, the dark flame. So she knows of Mokoro and Victorion. And so by saying that, she would have to know what happened between Euron and the warlocks. Remember, she's on the council, right? So if the Euron is true, and he kidnapped them and killed them, she would know that. So she would know that their Kraken is coming and what they're capable of doing. So she wouldn't like them. Or, which I think is more likely, Euron is not Euron. And the warlocks have taken over Euron, and they are the ones impersonating him. She would know that too, and that is why she would be very suspect of her. But either way, she's telling them to get away. Then she goes, the lion and the griffin, the sons, the mummer's dragon, trust none of them. Remember the undying, beware the perfume seneschal. So basically we know that it's Tyrion, Jon Connington, Aegon, and Varys. But the thing you have to really say there, she says, trust none of them. So why doesn't she want them to trust none of them? Well, Quaithe also tells Dany, you have to remember who you are, Daenerys. And then she adds, the dragons know, do you. All right? And then she also says another line is, to reach the light, you must pass beneath the shadow. All right, so to me, what she's trying to say is, number one, is she is steering her away from the Seven Kingdoms, all right, at this particular time. She's telling her, don't trust the people from there. And the people from there are Tyrion, Jon Connington, Aegon, and Varys. And they will be tearing the Seven Kingdoms apart too. She's also saying, remember who you are. Remember who you are. You are a Targaryen. And that people there is not a Targaryen. They are Blackfires. I think she's trying to set that in motion. All right, and then why she's doing that, I think she's trying to get her to the Shadowlands. To pass beneath the shadows, to reach the light, you must pass beneath the shadow. I think that is her trying to get her to the Shadowlands, where Quaithe probably is in the Shadowlands at this particular time. So why would she want to get her to the Shadowlands? That is what you would have to ask yourself. And the reason why she has to get her to the Shadowlands is she has a job to finish. And she had a plan in place. And she's trying to finish her job. And this is what the job is. And I think sometimes that people, I know George is a very tricky writer and he's very sneaky with some things, but I think people overthink things. And I think if you think that it's too simple, that's not what it is. And I think George sometimes plays on that. And I think you got to stop overthinking some things and just go on the facts and go on what it is. So this is what I think. House Dayne, we know, carries the highest, strongest person that carries the title, the Sword of the Morning. All right? The Sword of the Morning, Dawn is Lightbringer. Let's just get that out the way. All right? It's described as to be a sword of living light. Dawn is light building. They are there to protect the sword until it is given to Azor Ahai. That is their family line. That's what their lineage is. Therefore, you have to assume that if that is the case, that they are followers of her law on the low. All right? This is why, to me, Edric Dayne is sent off with Beric Dondarrion, who just happens to be rolling with Thoros Amir, who is a follower of R'hllor. Like, I remember, we don't know who Edric's father is. We don't know his name. We know he's their older brother. We don't know who his mother is. You know what I mean? But the story is, after Ned killed her brother, right? He dropped the sword off, and then she jumped. Now, Cersei didn't even buy this story, and she thought it was suspect, and we know she's dumb. So even if she doesn't buy the story, we have to say that this story is false, right? And why would she abandon her brother's son? Her brother, we don't even know what happened to him. He's gone. Her other brother's dead. Why would she abandon that kid? She's not going to do that. From everything they said about her, she's not that type of person. She didn't seem self-centered like that. So she's not, and she didn't. That's why she gave him, because they follow her law. And this was the plan from the beginning. Next, always remember, her wet nose was used in the ruse for Jon's parentage, right? That was used by Ned. They used her wet nose as the scapegoat of the mistress of Ned. Remember, her brother was best friends with Rhaegar. They're best friends. From all the things I think, she's close to her brother, from what I can remember. So what would that mean, folks? That would mean she must know Jon is Rhaegar's son. She must know this. She must also know the Azor Ahai of the prophecy of Azor Ahai, because she's a follower of law. So whether she thinks it's Dany or Jon is Azor Ahai, I think it's a good possibility that she's holding the sword. The sword was dropped off to her. So if she has the sword, and she would go off to the Shadowlands where they are worshippers of R'hllor, so it makes sense for her to go there and use the glass candle and try to get Dany out there to give her the sword or to tell her about Jon's parentage. That is what I believe Quaithe is. It's all about Quaithe. And I think that it's pretty much that simple. I think it's easy to see. So I hope you like this little quick hit. I'll do the Mirror Master one real quick. I'll be throwing that up next. So thank you, and subscribe, like, comment, and I'll get back to you. Until next time, you know who it is. It's the Don, Tony Teflon, House Teflon, Teflon 316. We pull the strings here on Teflon TV. Peace, and stay sexy.